Good morning, good morning. Let me just get the links out to the group, and then we can get straight into it. Okay. Um, Live streams. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, amazing. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome. Um, Bitcoin is contracting a little bit. Okay. We've got a little bit of a pullback, not much of anything really. Um, I'm still positively structuring up. Okay, we could very well get a break much higher. Now, um, taking into consideration positioning of Bitcoin ahead of this CPI, I think it's CPI comes out about 12 o'clock UK time. Let me just double check. Yeah, let me double check on this. London, Lisbon. Today's Tuesday. Okay, so I mean we've already got some data out. Yeah, okay, so 12:30 core CPI. Yeah, that's where the action's coming in. So, we're what 4.5 hours out. So not too far. Now, let's have a little look at that. The dollar index, because I'm pretty sure the dollar index is making some movements. Um, so yeah, I mean it's a bit of a strange structure. We've got a huge gap on the top here, as you can see, and then we've got this little gap here that needs to be filled. Okay. You right, Shark? How you doing, my man? You okay? Welcome. We're back with the live streams. So we're just going through, kind of scenarios that can play out, especially where Bitcoin has kind of left off ahead of CPI. So CPI 12:30 UK time. So pop that in the calendar for the day. That's your all important. Okay, so 12:30 we got CPI. We get average earnings coming out at the same time. And then I mean, yeah, we look towards obviously the New York Open um, at 2:30. But yeah, apart from that, that's about it for today. We do get an OPEC monthly report out at 11 o'clock, so hopefully we can capitalize on something on oil. We'll go over kind of that TA in this live stream as well. But yeah, I mean, huge gap on the top as well as huge gap on the bottom. So we'll see. It kind of it's looking like we could potentially make that move up towards this 200 and then move down, or maybe stick around here and either break up, fill up this previous gap here, and then come down. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of in that middle zone where there's a gap to be filled on the top as well as a gap to be filled on the bottom. Now that's obviously on the lower time frame. If you take a look on the slightly higher time frame, I mean, kind of turning around at this 200. This is kind of your level at which is more liquidity to be grabbed at. So could be could be the case that we get a sharp move down and then a huge rebound back up, filling up that massive gap on the top. So it could be the case that maybe, okay, inflation comes in um, relatively unchanged. That will trigger a push up in prices on Bitcoin. So breaking out of that structure that we're getting at this top. Um, the dollar index actually making that fall, very quick fall, that maybe even potentially not even make it to this box, but maybe this one here, full rebound, and then markets kind of digest and then continue pushing back up in terms of the dollar, and then in terms of Bitcoin actually faking out on the top and coming back down. Now this is relatively bullish structure if it manages to stick, okay, and it starts to accumulate. Now again, the CPI figure is really going to be a catalyst, and also just bear in mind this is a relatively strong kind of key point of resistance. So it could be the case, okay, we continue structuring, boom, break, maybe even breach slightly past that point, and then fake out and then come back down. It's something to bear in mind. Now, obviously, we have sent out a Bitcoin trade. Now we are break even. Entry just here, 24,174. I'm pretty sure. So just below. If it breaks down and taps us out, we're tapped out. That's fine. I mean, kind of around this very kind of big CPI report. This is relatively big one. So yeah, it's. I mean, we got in last night. We are at break even. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how things kind of play out. But it's kind of safer just to let it kind of roll, let it do its thing, and then wait for a bit of structure. Because we've got loads of data to get through this week anyway, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities. What have you got your eyes on? Crypto, bear flag, possibly. Yeah, I mean, we'll go over, but I mean, yeah, we're obviously in on Bitcoin. I had my eyes on Solana again, something that we sent out to the group, but we just kind of pushed right back down. Was looking quite nice on this move up here, but yeah, Bitcoin decided to pull back heavily. So yeah, I mean, apart from that, yeah, we'll just stick to Bitcoin. And I've got a couple of Bitcoin trades open on a couple of different platforms. So um, yeah, we're up a decent amount of money so far, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I mean, probably just concentrate on the one. BTC gonna dump soon. Yeah, I mean, it's make or break. It really is make or break. Now I'm just thinking maybe see a little bit of a push past that point, tap into liquidity, squeeze out some longs, and then make that move. Now it could dump from here. It could pump from here. One or the other. That's for sure. That was a very strong move from the Bulls. Very, very strong move from the Bulls, that's for sure. So, yeah, it could go either way. Obviously, that kind of pushback up was anticipating uh, a weaker CPI reading ahead of time. So, yeah, we'll consolidate. CPI comes out, and we'll probably see a huge. There'll be a fluctuation on either way, squeezing both sides, and then kind of going in its true direction. But um, yeah, hopefully we can kind of hold, break up, fake out to the top, and then dump heavily. That is what I'm looking for. So we'll get in and out, and we'll just go with it. But yeah. So, dollar index, Bitcoin has gone through. I mean, total crypto market cap above 1 trillion once again. Bitcoin dominance is worth touching. Pump and dump, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking CPI comes in unchanged again. Markets and kind of push Bitcoin up. DXY comes down, and then we get a rebound. Rebound off support on the dollar, and then a rebound off resistance on the on Bitcoin or risk on assets, and then just completely kind of dump off. Because I mean, okay, yeah, CPI hasn't gone up, which is kind of good news, but it's also not gone down for a second month running, or gone down significantly for a second month running, which again, you could read it as, okay, inflation is actually sticky. And it pushes also kind of a little bit further away from the Feds, or kind of a stronger narrative for the Fed to come in 0.25, or pushing or getting closer to that point where interest rates are paused from the Fed side. So, yeah. I mean, if it comes in hotter, then yeah, that's it's going to be a crazy dump off in the market. CPI will go up. Yeah, I mean it's a potential. It's definitely a potential. And if it does go up, then yeah, there's gonna be a lot of red across the board today. That's if CPI goes up. Now I'm thinking it's going to come in relatively unchanged again. Let's have a little look at the forecast. Um, yeah, so forecast core CPI month on month unchanged, 0.4, 0.4. Core CPI year on year 5.5, previous 5.6. So I mean, yeah, the forecasts are also predicting a relatively unchanged CPI. I mean, headline year on year coming down by zero point 0.4. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's looking like they're looking at it coming relatively unchanged for today. And I mean, if that's the case, then again, that narrative in terms of initially the instant initial move will, I mean, right. Whenever CPI comes out, okay, there's going to be a volatile move to either way, and then it'll move in its kind of direction, and then give it a little bit more time, and then it will either break up much higher in continuation, or go in the opposite direction much more quickly. So CPI comes in relatively unchanged. Okay, maybe we get up and down movement, but overall, kind of the short term, or the very short term push up, in terms of, okay, maybe it's kind of seen as kind of bullish, and then dump, because I mean it's realistically it's not great seeing CPI for the second month relatively unchanged, right? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Bear flag? Nah, it's not a bear flag. Where are you saying bear flag? Because this isn't bear flag. Bear flag obviously comes in when prices are in a um in a downward trend. Okay, so Bitcoin. Let's have a little look at Ethereum. Ethereum's always worth having a little look at. I mean, it does things do look like we might push down. Well, bear with me. We're holding. We're holding. We're holding. I mean, if it breaks down lower, we'll get. I mean, it'll tap us out, break even. Yeah, and that'll be us out from the market. I'm not going back in on that. Um, what was I doing? Ethereum, right? So where have we left off? Um, yeah, I see it pushing. into there, really tapping into that liquidity and making a move. That this is a very, very strong move from the buyers. Off a trend line as well. Very nice trend line. So it just really wouldn't surprise me if we make that stronger move to the upside here. Um, Towards that 18k or 1800 mark. If things really, really break up higher, and I mean Bitcoin pushes towards that 28k mark, because essentially after its current resistance level 28 is the next in line. Yeah, you probably see a 2k Ethereum. So yeah, 18 for 1800 first level of resistance for Ethereum. After that, 2k. Um, so it all kind of really depends on what happens with Bitcoin, really. Now, taking a look at obviously the equity markets, relatively unchanged ahead of obviously the CPI reading. Um, yeah, I mean, kind of holding on to a little bit of a bottom here, kind of compressing in price. So again, holding off for that CPI reading. This is an important CPI reading, that's for sure. Yeah, it's either it's very much make or break for um, these equity markets. Now, obviously, we had that Silicon Valley bank solvency. That's it, kind of made majorly impact the S&P well. So yeah, there's quite a lot of bearish news going around as well. So let's have a little look at oil. Now, we did do an update on it. I think it was yesterday. Um, Compressing into price, or prices compressing. Sorry. Now it's kind of briefly breaching. Is it going to really kind of break down heavily? That's the question. Are we going to come all the way down to this level? It kind of does. I mean, on the high time frame, it's failed to break through this 100. Tested several times, and now making a stronger move. We're kind of at this level of liquidity just here. But yeah, we could actually make that move much heavier. That's 500. I might take a short here on oil. I mean, we're not getting an amazing entry really. It's gonna have to be a little bit more of a long term, wider stop. I mean, the target we could be chasing, ideally, where's it was on the weekly, wasn't it? I mean, chasing that 200. Mm, it's not too bad. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, let's see if oil is going to make that break. Okay. Take a look at gold. Made that push. Are we going to continue pushing up higher? Ideally, would have wanted a bit more of a test. It's not really come down into that level that we were looking at. I mean, this is still looking relatively bullish, yeah. Right, this liquidity zone, it's come back down and tested this level as new support. It could very, very, very much make that break and push. Some nice amount buy side. Now, I just want to see that structure on that lower time frame kind of holding here, and then potentially making that break. But yeah, I want it to hold and then make that break. But we'll see how things kind of play out. Could be the case that we come down here and we get better entry around this level. There is liquidity to be held here, as well as this order block just above. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. It could be a potentially nice trade on the cards. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Well, we're in the monies. I see. Very quick profit. Very, very quick profit. See how far it can come. Could potentially have the trade of the year here. If it comes down to about, hopefully about 67. That would be a huge trade. Yeah, taking a short on oil. This could be a huge trade, so we'll see how things kind of play out. And in terms, so we're keeping a close eye on gold. Hopefully we can kind of compress, start building up on some positive structure for the next kind of move back up. But yeah, we'll keep a close eye on it. Could be the case that we kind of make a little bit of a deeper pullback into this square, and then kind of reanalyze the situation. Potential push back up in prices. Is this on a bit of a... Head and Shoulders on OP. Yeah, I'll check crypto in just a second. Yeah, I mean, those that are just joining us, welcome to the stream. Feel free to touch base in the chat. Anything that you want us to go over, I'm more than happy to do so. Now, in terms of the dollar index, obviously CPI is coming out 12:30 UK time. We have got a massive gap on the top, a little gap on the bottom. Nonetheless, we've got a gap on the top, we've got a gap on the bottom. That essentially will need to be filled up. So, yeah. This is kind of your next real level of support. I mean, if you kind of push down, maybe tap into liquidity, make that move back up. Yeah, we've got a decent amount of resistance on the top, so it's kind of probably easier for process to actually make that move down and then rebound and make that push up. Now, again, it really does depend on what CPI comes out to be at, really. So we'll see, we'll see. Um, we are in a long position on Bitcoin. Now it is break even. Okay, we entered this last night, so we're risk free. So hopefully, I mean, things kind of develop, push up. Now we are potentially looking at a liquidity grab up here, squeezing out any short positions. So squeezing it as we kind of come up to this level over here, breaking out. So enticing and bringing in bulls, kind of basically bringing them in on their limit orders, and then basically breaking straight back down. Okay, so we're kind of expecting a fake out, especially whenever you kind of get these kind of situations, especially around news, big news. It's always a perfect opportunity for institutions to manipulate the market. Okay, so we just need to bear that in mind and just be careful. Now, I mean, this is pretty decent structure here. Okay, if we could just continue building up and accumulating, CPI comes out. Okay, CPI comes down. Weaker, definitely going to make that push. After this point here, you're looking about 28,000. That's if it comes in weaker. If it comes relatively unchanged, again, could get a volatile move up, and then as markets have digested, a move right back down. If it goes up, if CPI comes in hotter, then yeah, we'll just get a sell off. Again, just be careful if you're in positions. If you can, either just stay out and let it just roll. There's plenty of data this week to get through. Or yeah, you're going to have to set your stops pretty wide. Okay, just because of the volatility. So, yeah, my advice, if you're not already in, just stay out. You're safer that way. OP, let's go OP. So we'll look. What are you saying, head and shoulders? Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's have a look. I am on the lower time frame. You're saying head and shoulders on the lower time frame on the 15-minute? Yeah, presume so. Have a look. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. It's already broken through that trend, that neckline though. So, yeah. And I mean, if this next candle here pushes past this level here, then that's looking like those balls are starting to pick up again. So yeah, I mean, see how things kind of hold off, but you could see a very large move to downside as well. So I'm gonna look at oil. Still looking good. Still nicely in profit. So that's what we like to see. Yeah. So this is your level. If we breach through here, this is looking like we're probably going to push up. So yeah, and I mean, this is rebounding. If we make that push towards 25 100, this next resistance zone, top of the range, would be a very nice payday. Very nice. Be happy to end the day if we make that push there. We nearly made it last night actually on this move here. It did look really nice, and then it just literally very quickly pulled back. Yeah, a little bit of a bullish squeeze, a long squeeze. A lot of people have got in on this move here, setting their stop losses very tight. That move down would have cut them out. So again, tapping into liquidity. So go get that rebound. We're looking good. That's such a strong move back up to the upside, though. Very strong move. Well, anyway, but we are back to this very key level of resistance. Okay, so the top of this range, so you got that wider range structuring up. Top of resistance, kind of struggling out a little bit, obviously ahead of this CPI, so I'm going to hold off. But yeah, if we break through here, that next level is really at about 28k. This next structure here, so it's pretty free ride, all the way to the top, and it could even, I mean, push past that point. Really, it could push probably as high as 32. Now again, that's if realistically CPI will have to come down significantly for that move to materialize. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day today. It's an interesting week. Even next week is pretty hefty. Obviously, we got that US meeting. CPI today is going to be important just because, depending on what it comes in, might actually pivot how Jerome Powell comes in, how the Fed treats the interest rates. So, yeah, it's a big CPI reading today. Jeez, right. This is coming down very nicely. Go on, give me that payday. Yeah, oil's looking good. So anyone that got in on that, you're laughing. Laughing. Alright, what we are going to do is we can potentially look at moving this to break even now. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right. Pa, 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 pa. All right, moving that SL2 break even, so nice and risk free. Those that got in, well done. Okay. Let's see how it kind of reacts here. There's a decent amount of liquidity here as well as previous structure, so it could be the case that we might get out here. In all fairness, again, I mean, it could very much just absolutely shell it through that point. It's kind of looking like it's holding. Very nice short position. Very, very nice. Like I said, break even now. Completely risk free. Don't need to worry about nothing here. Just move that over. Remember, we do get that OPEC monthly reports about 11 o'clock today. So, yeah. Yeah, I think we'll let it run. It's looking good. It is looking very nice. It's a big day, big day, big day for energy as a whole. Do, do, do. I don't like that now. Alright, we're getting out. I mean, still nice. Got in, got out. Um, yeah. $2.5 grand. So yeah, we're happy with that. I could still go, but right. On to the next one. Yeah, so you see they got that push right into that level there. It's, it's kind of easier for prices to actually make that push lower and fill up that gap beneath first and then push up. But yeah, I mean, there isn't much to touch. Okay, so we cashed in nicely on that oil trade, so very well done. Now in terms of gold, what we're looking for, yeah, we're just looking for the kind of test and the hold of this level of support, and potentially ramping up to this next level here. So I mean, yeah, hopefully the nicer entry will be towards this box here. So if we can actually get a nice entry on here, set your stop loss just beneath, and we just run it up to the next level of liquidity, which is about 1947. So yeah, we'll see. Keep a close eye on it. Um, but yeah, that's what we're kind of looking at. Okay, and we kind of do need that structure on that lower time frame to hold this point and start ramping up in terms of balls for that move. Otherwise, yeah, probably looking at making a deeper pullback, and I'm not interested in that, so I'll just stay out. But yeah, we're looking at holding this point and building up some accumulation on that lower time frame, and then making that move and break out through this point here between 1915 and 1918, roughly. But yeah, in terms of crypto, I mean, this is your structure on the top lower time frame. It looks like we're holding onto it now. This is we've only got 2 points of contact. Okay, 3 points on the bottom. So yeah, it could very much change into a different structure, that's for sure. But this is what it's looking like at the moment. So yeah, hopefully we kind of continue trickling up. CPI comes out, boom, we break out, push towards this point here, and then come back down. But again, guys, we'll come back online about 12 o'clock, so about half an hour before that CPI figure comes out. Okay. But yeah, that kind of ties this session up really. Caught a nice trade on oil, so well done. But we'll chill and relax and hold off and just watch the charts until that CPI. But again, we'll be back 12 o'clock, so we'll see you then. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for joining. And yeah, we'll see you 12 o'clock UK time. Perfect. Cheers.